What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Phaithful Phanatics show, guys. Before we get into everything today, we just wanted to apologize for the delay, for the tardiness of this celebration of this Victory Friday now show on Parade Day, for the late reactions. But lucky for us, lucky for myself, lucky for Scotty, Super Bowl victories last a lifetime, let alone a few short days. So I am just as excited and pumped up to get on here with you guys now and say this for the first time now, as I was on Monday morning. Ladies and gentlemen, your Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions after going belt to ass on a potential three-peat. One of the greatest head coaches, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, had no idea what to do. Super Bowl 59 is yours, and that Lombardi is heading down Broad Street in just under 2 hours. Guys, I'm one half of your host, Dylan David.
Uh-oh, did we lose Dylan early? Oh my goodness, of course. But nonetheless, as Dylan was saying, very happy to be here with you all today, celebrating the Eagles as Super Bowl champions. Let's hope we can get Dylan right back in here and keep this celebration going. We'll get him off the screen for now, though. But obviously, I'm very excited to be here with you all to talk about this game finally. As you can tell, my voice is still a bit scratchy here, but we're working through it. It's parade day. Definitely wanted to get the thoughts out there as soon as possible. Yeah. Oh. We're definitely gonna get to this, Martian. But no, there's been a lot of talking. There's been a lot of talking for whatever reason. The critics, the haters, they still are out at full strength. It feels like even after this victory, but nonetheless, I don't want to start there, Martian. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there because Amon-Ra's got something coming. The Cowboys, they got something coming. Anybody else that wants to open their mouth right now, they got something coming. Because one thing that we can talk about as we try to get Dylan back in here is how hungry these boys still are. How hungry this Philadelphia Eagles team still is to go and hunt and go after another championship. And I can honestly feel it because even myself, as happy as I am, and I'm proud of this team. I am. There is a little bit more hunger there for more. There is the want to see these guys go out and continue to compete, but that's not to discuss today. I see Dylan's popping back in now.
Yeah, we
Let
changed
me go ahead and hop back in. You guys should be able to see him, but I'll be back in a second here.
All right. We are off the rails, Martian. We appreciate you tapping in, man. I don't know if Scotty continued the short little spiel that I was on, but for the first time, I get to say, ladies and gentlemen, your Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions, and we are live here on DSM-Media's Philadelphia YouTube and Twitter channels. So if do yourself a favor, do us a favor, make sure to subscribe and follow us on all platforms. You can check us out on Twitter at DSM_media. Check out the link tree in our bio, and then check out the YouTube page specifically, like my man Martian is doing right here in the comments. Subscribe, share it, friends, family, any other Eagles, Philly sports fans that you may know of that might appreciate or enjoy the content. We appreciate each and every one of you. We continue to grow the channel day by day here, subscriber by subscriber, and the celebration will continue. Obviously, we're going to get into everything that took place in Super Bowl 59 on Sunday night because it was just a masterclass. Just absolutely poetic. Everything about what took place from the 0 sacks t-shirts 2 years ago from the Chiefs offensive linemen at their parade. Fast forward, I'm ready for the 0 blitzes t-shirts today from the Eagles defensive line. Okay, you just everything from Jalen Hurts, from the run game, from the defense. I can't wait to break it all down with you. But I don't think it's an overreaction for myself. Obviously, Scotty's got a few more personal achievements that he can that he has locked away than I do, right? He's married. He's got a few other things going on for him. But I don't think it's an overstatement to say it was the best night of my life. And before we get into it, like, yes, this one was obviously different than 2018, but it like meant more to me than 2018. I don't want to say 2018 was a shock because we knew what kind of like magic carpet ride that team was on. And you're coming off the thumping in the NFC Championship game. And, even at the time when we look back, like that team was very talented. Like I remember going like position group by position group, like we did this year against New England. And outside of Brady and Gronk in a few positions, you would give the lean to the Eagles back then. And they came away with a win. But this one was business. This one was redemption. This one was revenge. This one was just like you've arrived, right? You get the one. It's great to have the one, but you get the second one, and it's your third trip in the last 7 or 8 years, and you've arrived. The Philadelphia Eagles, guys, your Eagles are now top dogs in the league. Like there's the Kansas City Chiefs, and there's the Philadelphia Eagles right now. Those are your two organizations right now. Everyone can talk about the Bills and the Ravens and the 49ers and the Cowboys to find their way into the conversation. It is the Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are the class of the NFC, and they have been for the last 7 years. And you can make an argument that they've been in the conversation since 2000, man. But I can't wait to get into this with you, man. I apologize for the internet. I knew it was going to happen. I almost knew. Let me just avoid any distractions. Let me just get here. I don't think we've ever had it on the introduction, and then let alone the introduction of the Super Bowl celebration, let alone the Super Bowl celebration. We're both sick, and it's like, God damn, man.
Been a long week.
As smoothly as we wanted to.
It's been a long week, man. If I could plan out the Super Bowl celebration, I would do it a lot better if I had full control here. But no, I'm happy to be back on here with you, man. I do agree with everything you were just saying there as far as the Eagles, and you could even take it further than that, man. We talk about our youth and what we got spoiled with as far as NFC championships. I don't think we should even take those for granted. But obviously, this is a step up in the last 10 years, you would say, since that 2017 season where they got the first one, as you mentioned. And here we are now, man, 2 Super Bowls in the last 3 seasons. And the way you handled business, the age of the roster.
Yeah, man.
How can we not be excited about what's to come and not feel like we have a chance to go back to back? Like, that's what we're talking about now. And I think, I don't want to get it too far into this because we are just now celebrating the actual game. But you start to look around, you start to see how this team has responded to winning.
Yeah.
And it does feel like a dynasty could be brewing with this type of talent, man. But obviously don't want to jump too far ahead.
Excuse me. No, I agree. But it is, man, it's not better that we've had to wait. Obviously, I would have loved to jump on here Monday night, Monday afternoon with you. But, getting to watch the mic'd up the other night and having that, and then getting the juice of the parade this morning, right, and being on social media. Obviously, we're both not down there, unfortunately. It's made this a little bit more fun as well today. And to keep it in the now, obviously, we're about to get into the game. But D-Rab says greatest season ever. It's the greatest Philadelphia Eagles team ever. Let's just get this out in the forefront, okay?
Yeah.
It's the greatest Philadelphia Eagles team season ever. Nick Sirianni is the greatest Eagles head coach ever. Jalen Hurts is the greatest Eagles quarterback ever. Howie Roseman is the greatest executive in Philadelphia sports ever. And I'll take it a step further. This Eagles season, this Super Bowl run, this victory, this might just be one of the greatest teams, one of the greatest seasons in NFL history. Not the franchise's history, in NFL's history. When you just go through everything, man, when you go through the fact that this team finished the season, what, Scotty, 17-1 after starting 2-2. They went 18-3 with a Super Bowl win. So they went 17-1. Now think about that, right? The New England Patriots, that Randy Moss year where they lost to the Giants, right? They were what? They were 17-0 regular season, right? And then they went into the playoffs. They won 2 games, lost in the Super Bowl. Well, why? Like that was the undefeated. Well,
Yeah.
still one of the greatest teams of all time, right?
Yeah.
17-1 in their last 18 games, 18-3 overall. Number one defense in the National Football League. The performance, which I'm about to get into in the said game, 55 points in the NFC Championship, 40 in the Super Bowl. Most points, I believe they scored 145 points in the 4 playoff games. It's the most in NFL history. Their quarterback runs for the most rushing yards a quarterback has in the Super Bowl. The Saquon Barkley, 2K in the regular season, breaks Terrell Davis's whole season record, including the postseason with this Super Bowl performance. Just everything. It's one of the greatest seasons ever, man. But how did they do that, Scotty? They say defenses win championships. That was never more true than the other night. And that is nothing against we are going to talk about the offense. We are going to talk about the big plays. We're going to talk about that Super Bowl MVP because goddamn, it was fucking poetic the way that this season ended in that fashion. Okay. But this defensive performance, man, 6 sacks without blitzing a single time, 3 turnovers, 1 returned for 7 by Cooper DeJean on his birthday. They had Patrick Mahomes, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, already in the GOAT conversation, looking overwhelmed. Andy Reid, another one in the GOAT conversation. They had him look unprepared. 1 first down in the first half. The Chiefs' offense didn't cross midfield until late in the third quarter. Scotty, it was 34-0 before they put a positive play on tape. 34-0 before the Kansas City Chiefs offense, before Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce put a positive play on tape. It was one of the greatest defensive performances in Super Bowl history. And I don't just mean that as a diehard Eagles fan. It truly was special. And how did they do it, Scotty? By staying true to themselves. Oh, they're so simple, right? That's what we kept hearing. They're very simple. They don't disguise much. They don't bring much pressure. They don't try to fool you. They're just very good at what they do, and they all do their jobs well, right? They beat the shit out of the Kansas City Chiefs with their front 4. That's what they did. And then they said, "Hey, I got studs in the second level that are going to make you pay whenever you make a mistake." And that's what they did over and over again. And then on the biggest stage, man, just the way that front 4 got after him. Zach Bond with an incredible pick. Cooper DeJean with, we're going to talk about the Smitty touchdown. The Cooper DeJean pick 6 is the most electric play for me in the Super Bowl. The timing of it, it was still only 10-0. It turned the game from, this is a weird position, like 10-0 Chiefs ball first half. Chiefs go get points here.
Didn't take full advantage of those first couple series where you could.
I mean, the numbers are telling a story that the Eagles are absolutely dog walking you.
Yeah.
But if you go get points here, it's a 1-possession game.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Cooper DeJean makes one of the greatest plays in Eagles history, and it completely forever flips this game.
Yeah.
So everything that this defense did, dude, was unfuckably. The back-to-back sacks before the pick 6, it was just fucking amazing, dude.
Yeah, and it's exactly what we saw all season. We just saw it play out in like peak form in the Super Bowl.
Right.
And I think that's what was fulfilling about this, man. Not only were you able to go out there and put up that performance in this game, but coming off of that Super Bowl loss to Kansas City, where that defense was highly touted going into that game, and we went out there and laid an egg, regardless of the field conditions, whatever the conditions may have been. We went out there and we laid an egg. This time, you went out there and you made Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid look foolish. It was such a pleasure to watch, man. It made the Super Bowl evening turn into a fucking party. That's all it really was. It was a party at Patrick Mahomes in the backfield. And it was the time of my life. You're right. When you get to watch a defense lock in like that, when you get to watch a front 4 dominate like that, all of the guys that we know in this defensive line that may not have the biggest names in the world, and they get to shine on the biggest stages. And that's what we're talking about. Jalix Hunt, even Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat is not this highly touted pass rusher.
About to get paid, bro.
Yeah, he's about to get paid. Milton Williams about to get paid. These guys got after it, man, and they are dogs. And they're being bred. That's the thing in Philadelphia. They're just being bred and churned out right now. It feels like on both sides of the trenches, they fucking dominate. And it doesn't matter who's on the field for them. So
no, and everybody, to your point, made plays. Like, dude, let me ask you a simple question. All playoffs long, especially in the Super Bowl, and this isn't to you know, take a knock at Nakobe Dean at all, because I feel bad for him. Did you notice Nakobe Dean wasn't on the field? No, because Oren Burks played some damn good football. Avonte Maddox made a play in this game.
Yeah.
Phathatics made a 4th down play in this game. Like just the signature, just strap FU, game over, no more. Dude, Jalen Hurts, we're going to get into the MVP conversation, right? Before that throw to Smitty, you could make the argument that you could have named numerous defensive players for Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
You could have. Cooper DeJean's name could have been in there. Josh Sweat, 2.5 sacks, however many pressures. The Bond interception, you know, it's a great catch, great athletic play by Zach Bond. It happens because Josh Sweat literally just bullies the left tackle into Patrick Mahomes' lap and hits his lower half with his own lineman's body, right? Milton Williams has a day. To your point, a guy like Jalen Hunt, man, what was he, a 4th, 5th rounder this past year for Howie Roseman? He's making plays on the back end.
Safety.
What'd you say? Sorry.
Jalen Hunt, a converted safety out of college. He's out there making plays at edge rusher.
Just doing so much, man.
Yeah.
Like Reed Blankenship and CJ Gardner-Johnson were big in this game. Like there was never a moment, man, in the secondary where you noticed anything meaningful in this game.
No.
Like not in a meaningful time where you were like,
there was the Xavier Worthy shit at the end of the game, but obviously that's garbage time, right? But Zach Bond as well, man. Just a bona fide superstar. Like he is a superstar at the linebacking level. I don't know if it's just a match made in heaven in Vic Fangio's scheme with this Philadelphia unit. But I think both sides would be highly smart to get that deal done. Just because it was a match made in heaven. I mean, you're talking about a guy that racked up over 180 tackles. He's a turnover machine. He goes out there and he calls his own interception on Patrick Mahomes. Like he calls his own interception on Patrick Mahomes. That's
like
not
where exactly. Like, and that's when you go back and we have so much more to talk about. But that's when you talk about the culture and the leadership of this team, because where does that confidence, where does that mindset come from a guy who's playing a position for the first time in his career this year, coming to a new city with high expectations, where he's been a career
special teams guy, right?
Like where does that mindset lock in for him to call? And I know he's had a great season, DPOY, but to sit there on the biggest stage and, like you said, call your shot against one of the greatest to ever do it, and then come away with one of the most athletic picks I've ever seen a linebacker come away with.
To keep that ball off the ground.
It might have touched it. It didn't move, though. It didn't matter. He didn't pin it, nothing. So it was an amazing play, man. Every single person on defense, you could have given the defense Super Bowl MVP, and I wouldn't have questioned it, because that's how dominant this performance was. And it was validating, right? Because what did we talk about for the last 2 weeks heading into this one? We've seen our defenses dominate in the regular season before, and then they get to the big game and we never forced a punt. Scotty, they didn't just force a punt. They kicked the ever-living life out of the Kansas City Chiefs. Andy Reid not only did he not adjust, which was crazy to watch, but he had no answers. Patrick Mahomes had no answers to the test. Travis Kelce gave up. Travis Kelce visibly gave up on the football field. You could call it whatever you want. You can call it frustration. I got to be a better leader. Look, I'm not going to get into the whole Jason thing right now. I think part of it's stupid. I get some people's frustrations, whatever. It's his brother, whatever. He gave up on the football. It's on tape.
Yeah.
Of him standing around.
Yeah.
while his quarterback runs around for his life. You made one of the greatest of all time give up. That's how strangling this defense was on Sunday night, man.
And to your point about the defense, they could have been named MVP. There's a couple different guys, but I think that's exactly why they couldn't win MVP, if that makes sense, right?
For sure.
Because is it going to be Cooper DeJean who gets the pick six? Is it going to be Milton Williams with 2 sacks and one being a strip sack?
And a strip sack.
Is it Josh Sweat with 2.5 sacks? So it's like the whole defense, it feels like really balled out.
It would have had to have been one, right? It would have had to have been Sweat with 3.5 sacks and the strip sack and the push in for the ball and INT. Not what you know what I mean. So, it was very difficult. But I'm glad you bring that up, man, because we can obviously always come back to Vic Fangio and this defense.
Yeah, of course.
But the guy who did get the MVP, it was much needed, for said conversations, for his legacy, for the doubters. I saw Brian in here earlier. Haven't heard from him in a couple minutes. Martian. Where is Martian?
Brian said all I needed to see.
Yeah, Brian's converted. That's fun.
Kudos to Brian, man. Shout out to Brian. Righting his wrongs.
It was, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. It was almost storybook-like. It was pretty poetic for me how this season ended. Because for 2 weeks, all we heard and all we talked about was how do the Kansas City Chiefs stop or slow down Saquon Barkley? And I wrongly said they can't.
Yeah.
They won't.
Me too.
And tip of the freaking cap, they did it better than anybody did it this year. They frustrated this run game a bit. They slowed down Saquon Barkley. They did everything they wanted to do as a defensive unit to put themselves in a position to win this game. The passing game, Jalen Hurts has to beat you. And it was fucking poetic because it's exactly not even just that we said and knew that Jalen and this passing attack could do it, but it's just schematically how this roster was built, everything we talked about, Scotty. Good luck. Good. You want to pay that much attention to stopping 26, you are going to put yourselves in disastrous situations on the outside. And it's exactly what happened. A.J. Brown, big catch down the sideline. A.J. Brown, touchdown. Devontae Smith, couple big catches down the sideline. Devontae Smith, top off the defense, touchdown. Dallas Goedert, big catch over the middle. Jahan Dotson down the sideline.
Saquon down the sideline.
Not only was Jalen Hurts damn near perfect in this game, but schematically and talent-wise, it's everything we talked about. And people just ignored it. No. You stop Saquon. This passing attack isn't good enough. You're out of your fucking mind. And you paid the ultimate price for it. Because that dude, this number is a bad motherfucker. And all he does, Scotty, is show up in the biggest moments and balls out. That's what he does. And not too soon. It's not even a question anymore. He's the greatest Eagles quarterback of all time.
Yeah, I think easily at this point. All due respect to Donovan McNabb, obviously. That's when I became a fan as a child, but Jalen Hurts, he's just a winner. And that's kind of like the weird thing about it. Donovan McNabb struggled with in the biggest games is where he kind of struggled. So they're kind of opposites in a sense because Jalen shows up in these big games.
And I will take that guy every time.
I want to shout out Saquon really quick because there is a world where you could give Saquon the MVP for this game because of how the Kansas City Chiefs had to game plan in this game. And the amount of guys were wide open because you can't cover these guys one-on-one. And that is a complete testament to what it takes to shut down Saquon for a great defense like that to shut down Saquon in this offense. It took them to completely sell out and allow other players to dominate other parts of the field. Obviously, you give the MVP to Jalen Hurts because he went out there and he made the plays. He made them in timely fashion. Even some of the scrambles. You mentioned the throws. He showed his arm in this one for everybody to see once again. But once again, shows his legs as well with the 72 rushing yards in the timely fashion, right? The backbreakers. I heard Cam Newton talking about it, bro, and he explained it so well because it's like just when you think like, let's get a stop here, let's get the ball back, let's try to go get 7, and we can tighten the gap, right? Nah, I'm going to scramble outside of the pocket. I'm going to make an intangible play, and I'm going to use my legs to get 17 yards down the field into your territory.
Bro. He did it twice on one drive up the middle, and then he slid. And I remember it was either Leo Chenal or somebody. Like they were so deflated, dude. All they could do was throw their hands up and like start looking at each other, looking at a rut, just looking for some answer, some clue, some help, and they couldn't provide any for them, bro. He was Scotty. He was damn near perfect in this game. He made the one mistake. He made the one bad throw. The blitz came. Bolton came right up the middle. I believe it was Bolton. Excuse me. And he tries to get the ball, doesn't get enough air under it, gets hit in the chest, underthrows it, picked at the 3, which ultimately, like, people were bitching at that. Let me throw this scenario out to you, right? And I'm not defending the interception. I'm not trying to be that much of a jockstrap today, okay? But, like, so Bolton breaks through the line immediately, right? On that play?
Yeah.
And it was third down at that time. It was third down, and we were probably at, like, the 30-something. So we were in field goal range, but it was Jake at the time, whatever. Bolton breaks right through into Jalen's chest. He's not going anywhere, right? So if Jalen takes the sack, oh, my God, he took a sack. Now we punt. What are the odds the punt gets pinned inside the 3 and starts the Chiefs down there? So it was just people were freaking out. Like, I don't know. Like, I get it. Like, yeah, it ultimately took points off the board. But, guys, the line allowed a free runner. Like you know what I mean?
You know what
it
is? You know what the shock value is? That Jalen actually turned the fucking ball over because it doesn't happen. Like, that's the shock. Like, it's
and
not.
To Abe's point,
to your point, it is a glorified punt. It's like a perfect punt in this sense. But that is, that's like it hurts. Like putting on
I'm doing a little too much, but
still, to your point, it's not the worst version of an interception in a huge game. You got it out the way early. Right, it's not late in the game, so in the moment it could have turned out worse, right? It always could turn out worse if they score 7 on that possession and get no points out of it. Yeah, we look at it a lot.
Well, and so I sat there and it stung for a second, and then I go, man, I was like, you just can't let them go 97 yards. And at that time, I didn't think the defense was going to let them go 97 yards at that point. But outside of that, Scotty, he was the definition of perfect. The ability to use his legs, the third down runs, the big time pickups, obviously had the first touchdown of the game with the tush push. The timely throws, I think it was on a third down to AJ Brown, the back shoulder that didn't get called for a push off. Thank God, unlike the first play of the game. But that was a perfect throw on the run, the Smitty on the run, the Saquon, the Dotson dot to opening up the scoring. And then you had the icing on the cake. Right, you have the dagger, which was a fantastic call by Kevin Burkhardt. Right, like there's Harper swing for his life. This might have topped it because of the moment. They're going to run some clock or look for the dagger as the ball's in the air, and he just drops one. Not here, Scotty. Right here for 50 plus, right in the breadbasket. To Devontae Smith for what officially for me at that point, if it already wasn't over, officially put the icing on the cake, put a fork in the Kansas City Chiefs, and put the Eagles up 34-0. Excuse me. And that's when the celebration truly started to ring in for me. He was perfect. It was poetic. It was beautiful. He deserved it. No one deserves it more. You can all shut the fuck up now. all the dude does is win. You know, you brought up a very interesting comment. You brought up a point about McNabb, right? And not only because McNabb is like our childhood quarterback when we first became a fan, but McNabb was a talented quarterback. McNabb was the most talented quarterback I had seen over a long time.
He had intangibles. Like, he could run. Like, he had those intangibles for sure.
He 4 straight NFC Championship games, 5 combined, right? Been to a Super Bowl, only lost by 3 to Brady and Belichick. Like, McNabb had accolades. McNabb was the most talented quarterback I had watched. But it reminded me, when you said it, you're like, but Jalen, it's like they're reversed. Jalen might not be, you know, as flashy in the regular season as Donovan, but Jalen turns it on when it gets to the biggest moments. Well, it made me think of other quarterbacks around the league right now. And yeah, like, would I say that Jalen Hurts is more talented than Josh Allen? No. Who do I want leading my team and playing in that game? Would I say he's more talented than Lamar Jackson? I still might say he's like, I know Lamar 41-6, the MVPs, he's got it. I there's just something about Lamar's pass. I don't like watching. I don't know. Burrow, he's not more talented than Burrow as a passer. Would I take him over Burrow? Yeah, I would. See, that's the difference, because all the dude does is win. And you guys got so misconstrued because there's a 2,000-yard runner in the backfield this year, and why isn't Jalen throwing for 300 yards a game? The passing attack can't get it done. What are they going? Scotty, that was a legitimate conversation before the playoffs. Will Jalen Hurts? There were 2 things that could hold the Eagles back from winning a Super Bowl: Jalen Hurts in the passing attack and Nick Sirianni. How'd that look? Because that dude as well, I'll throw it to you if you want, but I want to give that dude all the fucking credit in the world today as well. Hearing the mic'd up the other night.
Yeah.
If we score, it's over. Just call it.
Yeah, just call
Kellen
it.
Moore.
Nothing to lose.
Like, as he's walking away, like, he knows what's about to happen. He's walking down the signs. Just call it. Like, hush, hush. Just call it.
Yeah, it's weird, man. I have an unwavering amount of confidence in Nick Sirianni after this stretch this season. Like, and I think rightfully so. He's proven it as well that all he does is win football games. And that's the thing, man. You look at the top of this roster, the captains on this team, it starts with all of them. Put the C on Saquon's chest already, man. You saw him on the sidelines talking to these guys the entire game.
What a leader, dude.
Yes, he has the right mindset. Jalen sitting there. He's like, after the last one, I can't. It's amazing how dialed in these guys could stay. And it speaks even louder when you see the message from AJ after the game, a few days later. He's talking about, how much he enjoys the hunt.
Yeah.
And I do feel it, because I want to watch him keep playing football. There's no more tests to put in front of this team, but I just want to keep watching them go out there and dominate their opponent, man. I want to line up the Bills, the Ravens, the Lions, and let them get their shot and see what happens, because that's where I'm at with this team. And it all starts at the top with this leadership, this roster. Simple as Saquon, right? Going on the late night show with Jimmy Fallon. He's not going on without his offensive lineman. Yep. It just speaks to the camaraderie of this team, dude.
And we haven't even shouted them out. Like, did you see that Landon Dickerson play where he's
the spin around,
and spins and picks up?
My God! Ridiculous. Talk about freaks on the lines, right? We talk about Jalen Carter all the time.
Yep.
Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson, Landon Dickerson. Even Mekhi Becton, as big as he is, these guys are freaks. These guys are freaks.
Dude. By the way, that was the hardest bar of all of the mic'd up, was Jordan Mailata.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
They can't fuck with you. And then he just goes, I know. Sickening.
He's not joking. He's not
joking. He's not.
He's not laughing. Nothing.
No.
He knows.
Dude, but Oh my God. Like, see, that's the beautiful thing about a Super Bowl victory, Scotty, because we wanted to get on here so badly Monday. And we got a couple more minutes left. We're not done yet. We got 10 minutes left if we want. But
Yeah.
it still feels just as good. And guess what? Well, come Monday, I'll talk about it some more. Come Wednesday, I'll talk. I'm going to soak this in all off season long, all summer long. You can't take this from me, man. And in the fashion that they did it, it was 40-6. Let's call it what it is. 40-6 is really what this game was.
And bro, can I just say this? I know the national viewers that aren't Eagles fans didn't love this. I wouldn't want it any other way. I don't want to stress out. I want to have that party by halftime. I want to be balling on them. So I loved it. I absolutely love a dominating Super Bowl performance. Do you have anything else? Because I do have a question. I got 2 questions for you, and they're just ideas I got from some of the national shows I've been watching throughout the week. But if you had anything else you wanted to touch on, I'll let.
The only other thing I was going to say about the offense, man, in this game, especially when you go back and look at the numbers, because they scored 40. Obviously, the defense had 7, so the offense still scored 33. But Jalen threw for 221. Saquon only ran for 57. Smitty was the leader with 69. AJ 43. Goddard 27. Like, nothing really jumps off the page at you.
Yeah.
That's how selfless this team is. Each and every individual.
Yeah.
And it's what Jalen said to Saquon on the mic'd up to wrap it up. Like, this is you, dude. He's like, no, it was all of us. Yeah, I know that. But that was the whole point.
Yeah.
This is the importance of you. Yeah, you only had 57 yards. It might have been your lowest of the season. But what we were able to accomplish here tonight is because they did everything in their power for 2 weeks to figure out what to do with you.
Yeah.
And they did it well. Except you forgot about a top 5 wide receiver and a dangerous quarterback behind the best offensive line and the best number 2 in the world. They're so selfless. That's part of the head coach. It's part of them. It was amazing.
And so efficient. They're efficient. You just look back on everything that Sirianni says week to week in these press conferences, the unscripted that we get to watch throughout the season and get to see the behind the scenes. You get to see it all play out on the football field. And man, I'm beyond proud of this team, dude. Like, just the amount of class and camaraderie. They're great role models. You know what I mean? Like, not only are they champions, but they did it in the right way. If that makes sense.
If you're the NFL,
I'm not going to go on that.
If you're the NFL, how isn't Jalen Hurts the face of your league?
Yeah.
Like, if you want to talk for young players and young people to look up to, that dude, Scotty, that dude's younger than me.
Yeah.
Younger than me. Do you watch him? Not just in his interviews post game and on the field. You watch him on anything he did this past week?
Yeah.
On Jimmy Fallon, on anything? That dude might as well be 56 years old. Literally. Might as well be in his mid-50s. And he's 26 goddamn years old. He's unbelievable. One last thing before your question.
Yeah.
When does the conversation start about Devontae Smith being one of the better football players of all time? And what I mean by that is accomplishments across the board. So let me try to find it real quick. But first of all, we talk about clutch, right? We talk about Jalen clutching up. Devontae Smith shows up in every moment. Okay.
Yeah.
My bad. I'm scrolling through my bookmarks real quick. But
you're fine. What I'm talking about. He's a national champion, Heisman winner, and now Super Bowl champion. I know that was one of the big ones, just like winning on every level.
Yeah, dude. Points off turnovers in the playoffs. Eagles 58, opponent 0. Jesus. Of course, it's going to take me forever to find it. But basically, yes, it's part of that accolade. But he also has scored in like every big game you could imagine. Like every single big game, college and pro, that you could imagine, Devontae Smith has scored in. So he scored in a Super Bowl. He scored in a championship game. He scored in a national championship game. He scored in an SEC championship game. He has scored in an Iron Bowl, in a Sugar Bowl, in an Orange Bowl, in all these different bowl games. Like he's so. And then they went down his awards all the way back to high school. And yeah, dude, like he's one of the most decorated players probably ever when you talk about a body of work. And he shows up in the biggest moments. And I feel like we don't view Smitty as a deep threat. I go back and watch Jalen's highlights from this year. Almost all of his deep throws are to Smitty in the end zone. Smitty had to have had at least 4 big touchdowns this year.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he just does everything so well. It's hard to like pencil him in as like just like this huge deep threat. Right, but yeah, he is. He does that really well as well. He's a great route runner. He's physical. He can get yak sometimes, like somehow, even with his size. It speaks to who he is, all his accolades, all the winning. And it just goes across the board. And you continue to add accolades to these guys in their careers. You look at guys like Lane Johnson on that offensive line, his second Super Bowl ring. Where does that place him amongst Hall of Fame votes? Like, what, you know what I mean? What track is he on as far as right tackles go? Like, across the board, this is what championships are about. And to your point, you know, a lot of these guys get to rule themselves as the best of all time in this franchise. Like, it's hard to argue that Saquon Barkley is not the best running back in Eagles history, even with just one season. Like,
it's a fact.
Yeah, like it's hard to argue that A.J. Brown isn't the best wide receiver in Eagles history, given what he's put on the football field along with the championship. So across the board, these guys are they're creating their own legend, right? And that's what's awesome about this as well, man. Which leads me into my first question, man.
Yeah.
If you had to pick your top 5 Eagles on this team right now, who would they be? And no pressure, man. It does not really matter. I just saw this on NFL Network.
Yeah, I did, and I saw like the worst list ever.
the woman, right? The blonde-haired woman. Yeah,
I think it's Jamie Erdahl or whatever. And she's good. I don't know, like
she's usually pretty good. Is she an Eagles fan?
No, I don't think she said her favorite either. I think she said like the best or most important Eagles in this game. Like I forget. Maybe not even the game. I forget what the list was, but. It was a pretty crazy list. I would go Jalen, Hurts, Saquon, Lane, for selfish reasons. I gotta go Cooper DeJean making plays in the secondary. And then probably Jalen Carter, dude. AJ, it's so tough. But I would say Jalen, Saquon, and Lane are my 3. And I think they're the 3 most important. And I do have to include AJ because I talked about before the Super Bowl. He's a top 5 wide receiver. And if you want to get a serious question, the Eagles did not lose a game in which A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts played together this year. So he's that important.
It feels weird. And I do have the same exact 5. I got Hurts, Barkley, Jalen Carter, Lane, and AJ. As my top 5. But yeah, it feels weird because you put in 4 out of 5 guys on the offense and the defense is so good. Like, does Zach Bond belong in the conversation?
Oh yeah.
It's hard after one season. You want to see it more, but he had an incredible year. Like, he was definitely a top Eagle this season. So it is tough, but you do got to give credit for the pedigree as
Yeah.
well. And that's what Saquon, Hurts, AJ, they come with. Lane, obviously, on that offensive line. Mailata, he's getting up there too, man. He's getting up there as well. So just speaks to this team, man. There's so many guys you can pick out as your favorite. I see Smitty here on D-Rab's list.
Yeah.
He's definitely a favorite of mine.
Scotty,
Dallas
bro,
Goddard. There's so many guys. Landon
Think about what took place, and I'm sure we'll have like we'll have multiple shows throughout the coming weeks of just reflecting back on the season and comparisons and stuff. But there was once upon a time at the end of last year where, and I know there's a lot of new players, especially on the defensive side, but there was a time where this team was unlikable. And not just because of the product you were putting on the field, but because of the personalities. And I'm dealing with one of the worst collapses ever. And a captain and Darius Slay is going on a podcast and going on Michael Parsons' podcast earlier this year and, just laughing and making jokes. And, man, this shit isn't funny to me. And like, they're tweeting at the fan that, they were unlikable at one point. They are arguably my all-time favorite Philadelphia sports team. That's how quick, and no, yes, it's because they won a Super Bowl, but that's not like, they didn't flip from least to best because of the Super Bowl. This year, man, the growth, the change, and it started with the head coach. We talked about it from that moment on, from the bye week, from the yelling at the fans, from that shaving his head. From that moment on, this head coach either looked himself in the mirror, had a long, hard talk with the wife or somebody. He changed course, and everybody followed. And I think Saquon followed the most, and I think that got everybody else's attention. Saquon saying Nick quotes to the media. And then you just, like you said, man, like, everyone's freaking out. Better guy than me, man. Like that first penalty, Scott, I really thought like, oh my God, here we go.
Yeah, I did too.
They threw that flag on AJ, and I literally fell to my knees. And I like that was a game-changing play. If this game is close, you took points off the board here.
You don't think you can afford plays like that when you're playing the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes.
Little did we know.
And I thought, oh my God, I'm sick to my stomach the whole next defensive possession. And he's over there on the mic'd up telling everybody, yo, right here, relax, next play. What? That's crazy.
Because the sideline was freaking out about it. He was the one over there calming everybody down, and it's exactly what we needed, man. You don't need to go out there and look all shell-shocked immediately at the start of the game. Get back level. Let's go make some plays. That's exactly what they did. One of the most dominating performances ever, man. Just sorry that we couldn't celebrate with you all sooner. You can hear my voice. We're battling here, but next week we'll be back full throttle for sure. But
I feel like shit, man. I was I woke up feeling like
time.
shit, and then I'm like, all right, let me set this up. Like, I'll get ready to go. We started it. We had the internet issue, feeling good, and we're winding down, and I'm over here like, how, like, just how, man, like, how? I want to know. The greatest night of my life ends with me getting the fucking flu. Like, how does this shit? Like, really, man? Like,
it's just so Philly, right? Like, we just had to take one for the team, man.
I guess I had to go too far my birthday weekend and end it this way, right? Like, God damn it! But that's it, D-Rab. That's it. Holy shit! It's still like, I don't know that it'll ever.
I need my gear. I need my Super Bowl gear, yo. Like, that's what I need. I need that to get here now. I need my Super Bowl patch. I got the Jalen Hurts #1 Super Bowl patch.
All right.
I'm gonna wear it every day.
All right.
Like, it's just gonna be my go-to, man. I needed it because I didn't have a midnight green Jalen jersey either. I have white. I have the silver one. I have a Kelly green one.
That one too.
I needed the midnight green, so I got that Super Bowl patch, and then I got a hat as well. But I would like to get a hoodie.
You got it from Phanatics?
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't fuck your shit up. Yeah.
Might have to go out to the pro shop or something if all else fails. But
all right.
Yeah.
40-6. That's what I'm calling it as.
Yeah. Rodgers got it tatted on his leg. He could have gotten 40-6 if he really wanted to.
Regardless, the best night of my life. I said it when you were off. I said, I know we're wrapping up here, but I said, Scotty's got a few more like personal achievements than me. You're married. I was there. It was a great night. I'm sure that goes above. All right. Yeah. Right. Alexis. Yeah. I think right. Whatever Alexis says.
Right.
But this was the greatest night of my life. Like it was better than 2017, 2018. It was more important. It was validation. It was confirmation. Like we're here. The way they did it, nothing rivals it, dude. And that's how special and how important this was. The parade is about 50 minutes from kicking off. Well, I might as well just call an Uber down there now. I'll get there.
Good luck. Good luck, man.
Yeah.
I remember the last one. That was
watching
insane.
from the comfort of my own home. I'm going to chat with Scotty over the next hour or so. Guys, we are supposed to. We may be live in about an hour and a half. Just a little watch along for this parade. Yeah. See how I feel over the next hour, because we took about 2 steps back over the last 50 minutes here. So we're going to see. But
get hydrated.
If you guys are watching, obviously we can't play it on the screen, but if you guys are watching the parade on your television or wherever, laptop, we might be live just shooting the shit, watching it along with you guys, talking more about the game, the season, and all of that. So if you're interested, leave a comment on the video. And I'll chat with Scotty about it. I'm trying, bro. I'm trying. It's hard.
If you guys want it, we can get it in. But I'll definitely be watching the parade. So why not?
Yes, sir. But guys, for myself and Scotty,
hydrate up.
Yeah, over 40 of you in here in the chat. We appreciate you. I know not all of you are subscribed to the YouTube channel, so do us a favor, do yourself a favor. Make sure to check us out at the DSM Philadelphia YouTube channel. Subscribe. We're just at about 180, which we're up about 30 new subs in the past month and a half, which is way above our pace. So continue to help us push and get that pace up. We appreciate you. Go Birds, and let's go enjoy the rest of this day. Peace out.
Go
everybody.
Birds. See you guys later.